think the problem is that, I delayed it. I set it up to start. I set it up to start streaming at 7, but then delayed the meeting for 7:30. So it's probably confused.
And when can you tell me when you hit share, what's the next link I'm looking for? It's not. Is it LeahTube? No, I thought it was a player. It is LeahTube.
It should be LeahTube.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
It is LeahTube, yeah.
And I don't know if it's it warrants an official announcement, but I'm going to use LG OLED TV, which I just bought today.
Let's see. It sounds like someone is.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like the live stream is starting up for me. Fingers crossed. I'm looking at YouTube right now. So, Bob, for this to work, I think you're going to have to go back out of where you are and tap that link again.
Okay.
Whether it's in the email or the homepage.
No problem. Here we go for 3D TVs and LoomPad. I do have a brand new 3D TV, an old brand new TV, which isn't hooked up yet. It's still saying upcoming right now.
Okay. Well,
with one waiting.
If I'm 30 seconds or so, I've got it up here. So
okay. And it is the first one, right? Upper row, far left. Scheduled for 9:10. Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
I can try clicking on it and seeing where it takes
I've got
me.
it working here. So just make sure that you kind of start over again. Is anyone else having any trouble with any of the YouTube streams? Okay.
No, it's giving me invalid requests.
Okay, yeah, I think you just need to go all the way back out and then go back in. Close the YouTube app, close the LeahTube app.
Yeah.
And basically start.
I believe that's done. I just went back to the home screen and clicked on. No, it's giving me invalid requests. Oh, now I'm getting a delayed echo on your end. All right, let me try again. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. There's two. The one next to it. Oh, now I'm getting a delayed echo on your end. All right, let me try again. Yeah.
So it looks like Jay's got it up.
Oh, wait a minute.
And, let's see, I think someone needs to mute their device.
One next to it. I'm getting a delayed echo on your end.
Yeah, I think it's you.
I'm getting echoes.
Yeah, we're fixing that right now. https://youtube.com/live/settings. All right. Sorry, Jay, I had to mute you there. All right, Bob, keep trying. I've got both streams up, so it will work for you. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the screen share for those who are following along on Zoom. We have a good number of photos tonight. We have a new contributor also, Charles Brandt, who may not be able to participate. Oh, there he is. Hey, Charles.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm so glad that you could make it.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago, so I might not be able to stay the whole time, but I'm here.
Right. Well, unfortunately, you were you're near the end of the group, so stick with us if you can.
Right.
If you can't, we will share our thoughts and opinions, and you can check it out later on our YouTube channel. We do save these slideshow streams for a couple weeks, and you'll be able to hear our comments and all that. thanks for dropping by. They're great photos. I'm really looking forward to showing them. And of course, tonight is our special subject. The subject is architecture. And we have some great examples of that. We're going to start with one by Jay. And the title is Gothic House. For those on YouTube, there is a delay of a few moments, so be patient and things will catch up. With that said, Jay, take it away.
Okay, it's a cha-cha done with my cell phone, using the wide-angle lens, and this is actually right next door to me. I think I submitted another view a few months back. And, yep, only interest in architecture I came across this month.
Well, for a cha-cha, I'd say your spacing is really good.
Yeah, I did the usual multiple and chose the best. But there's a fence I'm sort of shooting through, so there wasn't much room. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It's nice.
Yeah.
The tree is a very nice foreground element, too.
Yep. Actually, I like clone out a bit of the trees.
There was something I wanted to share real quick, and this was a conversation that we had last week about PSA rules for internationals and how vignetting is not allowed. They really don't want any sort of cloning or really in-image editing at all for these international exhibitions. So I wasn't really aware of how strict it really was.
There's a bit of retinal rising in the tree.
Yeah, I think the tree moved a bit.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of wind that always wreaks havoc with cha-chas. I guess the only thing you can do with that is clone it, but then it becomes a flat tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Very nice. Oleg, I'm going to put you on stage now. We have 4 by you in a row. I didn't randomize the group this evening. And the first photo of yours, the title is Exterior of the Espresso Silo Coffee Shop.
Yeah, what I was struck by the reflection. It's hard to tell what's in the building and what's reflection from the outside. The only thing I can say for sure is the blue sky is a reflection from the outside. I'm confused by the rest of it.
Yeah, it looks like that's a great reflection with that stairway. Is that stairway in the building, or is that outside being reflected in the window?
I think it's in the building, though it sure has a lot of light to be inside. Yeah, it's got to be inside.
It's nice how the light is falling on the person at the table near the foreground there.
Are you absolutely sure it's inside? Because I'm looking at the edge of the glass, and it looks like the stairs just stop there, which it could do if it was a reflection. But if we were looking through the glass, I don't know that it would be distorted like that. Or maybe that's the design of the stair, but it seems like unlikely that it would end right at the edge of the piece of glass. Plus, I mean, it's getting a lot of sunlight, which would make sense because you can tell it's a bright sunny day.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. If you look at the inside of that cafe or whatever it is there, and the architecture inside, it doesn't look like that stairway fits with what's just to the right of it. I may be wrong, but seems like a totally different design. And I'm wondering if it isn't outside.
I'm 95% certain it's inside.
Okay.
Well,
Because
it
behind
definitely,
this, it's an alley with nothing in there. So it's got to be inside.
Well, makes it
The
more.
Yeah.
The trees are outside.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I was making an assumption about the trees, but you never know these days.
I know, great reflection. The only thing that bothers me a little bit is the intensity of that white to the left, on the left side.
Yeah.
Looks slightly blown out.
Yeah.
It kind of draws the eye away, and that reflection is so wonderful.
Yeah.
I'd like to draw the eye in there a little more.
Yeah. Good. That's a good, I'll be changing it.
a lot of intrigue in this one.
Yeah, this is supposed to be seen on a large screen. Then you can see all the details. There's people there and stuff like that. Inside and outside too. That lady on the right outside, I kept waiting for her to get her head up, but she never did.
I'm getting an anomaly. The woman in the middle between the one on the right on the stairs, just in her lap, looks like there's something on the left chip, a purse, or I can't really identify it, that's not either there or it's in shadow on the right.
Yeah, I think it's a little darker in one eye.
Yeah. But when I'm just free viewing it, and it's vibrating for me because of the difference in the brightness.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
Can you say exactly where you're seeing this?
Yeah, the woman in blue, kind of hunched over there in the middle. There's kind of a white, like part of her arm. Okay, yeah, okay, there we are.
Yeah,
I think Matt has it.
Highlight
if you
it.
make that square even smaller, it's right to the right of her posterior there.
Let's try that again. It's like right in there.
There we go. That's a little bit to the left of the box on the left chip.
It looks like
There we go.
a purse or a bag or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's in both, but it's
just so dark on the right.
It's very dark. So that would be pretty easy to fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's another job for me.
We'll keep you busy.
Thanks, Oleg. Let's look at another one by you. This is level 5 of a downtown Santa Monica parking garage.
Yeah, I've been starting to take pictures, and whenever I see parking go in there, if I go into the places that the garage serves, they usually kick me out of there with all my equipment. But in a garage, they don't care, I guess. I could be breaking into cars, really.
I really enjoyed the color palette on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the architect of this garage, there's some beautiful shots outside of the garage. That red staircase.
And then the building in the back with the red window or the red dot, it's nice because it kind of ties the white and red theme together.
Yeah, and then you've got the light blue and the green buildings in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of not out of character for Southern California. They aren't afraid to go bold with colors.
Speaking of which, did you boost that red much?
Yeah, again, probably too much.
Yeah, go for it. Just a little. I love the geometry of it.
I like it.
Again, you got one anomaly, but it might be like, you know, those drops of water where you're going to get a natural anomaly. But that, whatever it is, the square, that cube on the left with the post, whatever it is to the right of it, just to the left of the background building, the light blue background building. It's different. I can see more detail and darkness in the left chip, and the right chip is much lighter. It's the only thing that vibrates for me when I preview it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. I have a bad vision on my left eye. So what I usually do is look at side-by-sides to see where there might be problems.
I assume you do color matching in Stereo Photo Maker?
No. I do all my work in Photoshop.
You might try that. I think it's pretty effective.
I don't like that. The trouble, it's destructive. If I wanted to enlarge this to mural size, I want the detail. And you lose that when you do some automatic changes.
Have you tried any? I'm sorry. I was wondering if
it's destructive. I mean, you could save a version with a correction and without, and then you could make layers of those, and then you would have a version without. So you could dial in the amount of correction. I mean, maybe that's more complicated than it needs to be, but I like that tool, and my eye isn't really good enough to see the difference. I find it a very useful tool, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do too. I agree. And I had no idea it was that destructive. I will prefer the lighting or the coloring on one chip, and I'll just select that, and it adjusts the other to match it pretty well. So, and you can still alter it from there, but yeah, I find it a very useful tool. Love the geometry on this. It's like a Mondrian painting. My OCD does want to go up there and straighten the exit sign and just move it up and down.
Oleg, would you call this one of your four-dimensional compositions?
Oh yeah, at least I liked all the reds, and that won't show up in without the colors.
You can use that designation on the wall back there to name it to levels 1 through 4 and 5, 6, and 8.
The title is something like that.
Yeah, the title Level 5 of a downtown Santa Monica parking garage. Yeah, there is a 5 there somewhere, yeah. It's obscured in the right eye by a column, but...
In about an hour, I took about 20 pictures, and all very different at that site.
Well, yeah, there's some great compositions to be found, I guess. Let's look at another one of yours, Oleg. This is a little closer to the headquarters of the Golden Gate Stereoscopic Society. This is Thrift Shop Storefront on Solano Avenue.
Yeah. What I liked was the architect of this building made this thing. It's almost a mirror image, but it's not. The treatment of the windows on both the left and right end are identical.
Yeah, you're set to go if we ever do a reflection theme again. I think we've had that in the past. You've got quite a bit of a Pepper's Ghost going on here. I don't know if people know what that is.
You better explain it, Steve.
It's an old magic trick, and it's over 100 years old, but it still amazes audiences. It's also how Disney Imagineers did the transparent ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. Basically just a reflection, but it's designed in such a way that the reflected image looks like it's there, just like it looks like cars are parked inside this thrift shop. It's a very cool effect. When you control it, it's very magical.
And you're really getting a wide reflection of the entire street with these angled windows.
Yeah.
And is this a like a corner shop? What's happening with the sides there?
No, it was in the middle of the block.
Huh. Are you using very wide lenses or something?
Yes, 10 millimeter.
Okay. Ole, did you make it to the Solano stroll on Sunday?
Oh, they had the stroll.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Was the
Yeah,
eighth?
I was there. I took a bunch of 3D pictures.
Okay. I guess we'll be
No,
seeing those in
I
October.
don't know. Oleg's got a better eye than me. I mean, I passed by all this kind of stuff, and I never able to get a good picture. But I got some regular, W3 pictures.
Well, I'm with you. I've been on Solano Avenue my whole life, and I never find the compositions that Oleg does. And Oleg, you've been to Solano Avenue like once or something?
Uh, I did go to the stroll about 5 years ago,
Okay.
but that was
Well,
this
you've
is the
got the
first time
eye.
when I went down the street.
You definitely have the eye. Steve, was the stroll very crowded this year?
Yeah. It's funny, when I first arrived there, I heard people saying, "Oh my God, it's so crowded," and I was looking around going, "Yeah, it's less crowded than previous strolls, but
Yeah.
it's always pretty crowded." I mean, obviously it was. I think they shut it down for a couple of years for COVID, and then it came back slowly. So yeah, it was pretty crowded. Sad though that there are no movie theaters, because I remember they used to run cartoons continuously at both theaters for free, so you could just stop in, enjoy the air conditioning and cartoons
You're
on the
talking
big
about the
screen.
Albany Twin and the Oaks?
Exactly.
Right. Well, we see
And I went
the.
inside the Oaks, and it's now a rock climbing wall.
Yeah, it
So
is.
that's interesting.
They have at least restored the beautiful neon on that original oak sign, so at least that improves the neighborhood. And you can see the empty hulk of the Albany Twin in the reflection of the door of this photo, which is kind of sad. That was Tor's theater. Tor Clippard is still a member. He had to work tonight, and he has to work Thursday night, so we won't see him this week. Hopefully we will see him in October. And Tor, of course, worked at the Albany Twin for years and years and was in charge of the poster sale for the Solano Stroll. But we're sort of getting away from 3D right now. So I'm going to move on to Oleg's third photo of the evening. This is, this is the fourth photo. A view through a courtyard at a shopping center is the title.
Yeah, this is in Santa Monica. That crowd of people, I saw over my shoulder. They're coming. Oh, good. The only trouble is they didn't stay together. There's actually 4 people in that crowd. You can barely see the 4th one at the back. But that's the best picture I could get. If I had been faster, it would have been an even better picture.
Maybe you can count that guy up on the billboard.
Yeah, I deliberately made him stand out.
Yeah, no, he's great.
The shopping center in Santa Monica. Got kicked out of it about 4 times. Every time I go in there with my camera, the security people will kick me out.
Wow. Well, I guess you got to be tough, Oleg. You're definitely not inconspicuous with your rig, but I'd say it's worth it.
I forgot what it's called. That new camera that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, the X-Beam. It's the
Yeah.
X-Real Beam Pro.
Yeah, that's got a real wide lens. So now everybody's going to be taking pictures like this.
It's true. I'll be showing my first batch next month. It's an interesting device. Definitely inconspicuous. Not as capable as a Fuji W3, but more convenient in a lot of ways.
What's interesting to me about that, if you use glasses with it, it will give you the special glasses. You can get I forget the word for it. Well,
I know they bundle like a pair of AR glasses, augmented reality glasses.
right. And what that will do, it will simulate what I'm looking at now, a TV sized screen.
I think there has been some discussion about those on the main 3D Groups IO discussion board. I don't know anyone who's bought the bundle. Everyone who I'm hearing from is just buying the camera, including me. I'd be very curious to know how those work and how the
Talking about the X-Real
yes.
Beam Pro?
Yeah.
Because that's not a wide separation at all. It's 60 millimeters, I think.
The separation isn't too wide, but the lenses are wide.
Oh, right. Yeah, it does have that wide angle lens.
Yeah. It's definitely not as much separation as Fuji, for example. You do have to get closer to the subject.
Good for portraits, so.
This, by the way, is 6-inch stereo base.
6-inch separation and 10 millimeter lenses?
Right.
Right.
10 millimeter equivalent.
Right. Well, thank you, Oleg. Thanks for being on the hot seat. I want to jump over to Charles because I know, Charles, it's getting late where you are. So what I'm going to do, out of consideration for our out of time zone participant, I'm going to skip over 8 photos. We are on number 5 right now. I'm going to jump over to number 14. We'll hear from Charles, and then we're going to go back to Bob and Steve. Sorry, guys. It's not preferential treatment. I just want everyone to get some sleep tonight. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to jump ahead on the streams. If you are following along with the downloaded photos, it is image number 14. And let's wait 10 or 20 seconds or so for things to catch up on the screen, on the streams rather. And when we settle, we are going to start with one that I have titled. Charles, I didn't see any titles with your photo, so I titled this one San Francisco Chinatown #1.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, this one I like taking pictures with kind of something closer and something in the background just to give it a little more interest. And I work sort of near Chinatown, so on a way walking home from work one day, I went around to take a few pictures, and this was one of them that I thought looked nice.
Yeah, it's got a great 3D effect.
Charles. Oh, and I've got some off-brand 3D camera, just in case you're curious, that I used to take it. It was very inexpensive, but I can't really recommend it as a great camera, but it's an okay camera. It says Easy 3D. I don't know that that's the brand because I looked it up and couldn't find anything.
Very interesting. It looks like you've got good separation between those lenses too, and you've got good depth in this photo.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that camera. How long have you been shooting with it?
Maybe 8 years. I know where I got it. It was on there was a website that sold called ThinkGeek that sold, kind of nerd science themed gifts.
Sure.
And when you bought stuff, you'd get points. And then I didn't understand that. And then one day realized I had a bunch of points. And they sold this camera, which I think was also on clearance. So the camera was like $10 when I ended up paying. But it's since gone out of business, that site. So just kind of a mystery camera.
Yeah, it is. Has anyone in this meeting ever familiar with that camera? Ever heard of that name?
What was it again? It sounded vaguely familiar.
The Easy 3D is what's written on it.
Like
and then
E letter Z?
No, E just spelled out normally.
Okay.
And it's got a 3D screen on the back, but mine's starting to go bad. I don't know if I doubt that's anything. Maybe if I tilt it, you can kind of see.
Yeah, you can kind of get the effect.
Yeah.
On this picture, getting back to the picture, I'm getting a little retinal rivalry in the, I guess it's like a piece of wire that's running down the brick building. It might just be that it's small and I'm getting like little pixels that don't match up, but it's flickering in my, I'm using these mirror glasses, periscope type glasses, and I'm seeing some rivalry, right? Just in that wire. I don't know if anybody else is seeing that.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm free viewing, and I'm seeing it. But I thought, well, it could just be the screen size that I'm looking at. But
right, yeah, that's the same thing I was thinking.
I think there's a little bit of aliasing in one eye that's not there in the other. It's a little sharper in one eye.
Mm.
Are you able to zoom in on that, Matt?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. Now, I think you are referring to probably this part of the image.
Well,
Yeah.
that white thing
Let
that
me,
looks like a wire or a rope.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
you'll
it's
see it
even, it's
on
more
the,
pronounced that now that you've zoomed in.
I think
So yeah,
that's
there
what
are some little gray spots in one eye that aren't in the other.
Mm. Yeah, it
yeah,
could be just the quality of the camera. Maybe it's not so great with the finer details.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's something. I would call it a quality of the camera. Every camera has its own qualities, and this is one.
But an
It has
easy
the quality you'd expect from a $10 camera.
Well, $10 camera that's worked for 8 years, so you can't.
That's
I'm
nice.
not going to knock it.
An
I'm
easy
joking.
fix.
That's an incredible price for anything. And I was very impressed that it has a 3D screen because a lot of these new ones don't.
I think the original price was more than $10. I just got it on clearance discount, and then I got a bunch of points. So by the time, I was putting in cash, it wasn't much.
Nice repetition of shapes with those 3 archways on the building
Oh yes.
and the lanterns.
Let's look at another one. Here is San Francisco Chinatown 2. And I know I photographed this same area.
Yeah. I think there's a headquarters for the Taiwanese American I don't know. There's a Taiwanese headquarters nearby, so that's why there's so many Taiwanese flags everywhere. But I liked how there was a bunch of flags and lanterns suspended, and then all throughout the alley, and it says Chinatown, so it kind of nice clear message.
Great subject. Charles, what's your workflow? Do you use Stereo Photo Maker? Do you do a lot of editing to your photos, or are these more or less out of the camera?
These are pretty much just out of the camera. I've used Stereo Photo Maker in the past. This was just had to go to Chicago on business, so I didn't have a lot of time to do anything. So I just kind of collected what I had that fit the theme, and I want to print them onto cards because I've restored some stereoscopic viewers. So I'm trying to kind of take it to older technology. Oh, and I thought I'd mention this in case people don't have access to Photoshop. There is an online Photoshop equivalent that is free, and it is photop.com, PEA, like the vegetable. And it was made by a guy, he might have been Polish or something, like a guy in Poland said, I'm going to just make a free online Photoshop. And it has, most of the tools that maybe, 2006 Photoshop would have had. So it's got, a lot of the photo tools without a lot of the warping and the AI and all that kind of thing.
I'm going to put that in the chat. I know a lot of us are interested in Photoshop alternatives.
Mm-hmm. That one, it looks very close to Photoshop. So if you know Photoshop, you can go to that and no problem at all.
Have you compared that to GIMP?
I don't care for GIMP's interface. GIMP's powerful and I respect it, but the Photop does what I need pretty quickly. And I teach kids sometimes, and so I like that it's just online. I don't have to install anything. I can just go anywhere and start using it. So,
right.
Yeah.
And Affinity has a 6-month trial now.
Yeah, I'm a big Affinity user, so if you're willing to pay a little bit at one time, it's pretty powerful. Yeah, it's not up to what Photoshop is now, but it's probably pretty close to what Photoshop was 18 months ago.
Well, that seems to be what everyone in this club really wants is Photoshop from, you know, 2015 or something. So I think that would be more than adequate for a lot of our needs.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks. Check that out for those who are not familiar with Photopea. It's new to me. I'll definitely be checking that out.
I just have one little suggestion in terms of the that building in the back. If there's any way to recover some information on that blown out white area, maybe do it.
That's the one thing about this camera. Well, more than one thing, but its white balance is not very good and not very responsive. So I kind of have to. This was a darker alleyway, so I kind of had to aim it just at the ground and then half hold it, and you can let it go, and it'll try to white balance very slowly. So you can. It could be an artistic tool, but it does have a kind of limited range in that, with blowing out images and things.
Yeah, I mean, there may not be enough information or anything there, but just curious.
Let's call it artistic.
Yeah.
I think before we move on to the next one, I think there's at least one person in this meeting tonight who remembers when we were still doing stereo prints. Getting back to Charles's point about making prints for stereoscopes. It must have been 10 years or more that we went all digital. And of course, that's when we were meeting in person and could actually set up the cards on a table. And we had, I think we had 2 or 3 stereoscopes so that everyone could view them. And I kind of miss that. I don't see them coming back for our Zoom meetings, but you never know.
Actually, I found an iPhone holder that you can mount onto a Holmes stereoscope. So I was going to 3D print that out and try it out.
I have seen that. I've seen them. I've seen smartphones like rubber banded to owl viewers, that kind of thing. It's a nice hack.
Oh, and if anybody knows any resources for finding lenses for a home stereoscope, I got a set of 2 that were both damaged, and one of them I was going to use for parts, but I managed to restore the whole thing, and so I've got a second one that's got 1 lens, and so I either need to find one or a matching set to repair that one. But I don't know. I found one place, but the sizes were not quite right.
I know a resource for round lenses with the correct focal distance. I do not know a source for new traditional square Holmes stereoscope lenses, which I think are quarter lenses.
Yeah, I think they're, what is it, prismatic lenses? It's kind of a wedge shaped.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
It's a round lens just chopped up.
Yeah, I think they just chop up a lens.
Yeah. So if you're in Chicago, there's American Science and Surplus.
American Science and Surplus. Oh, yes, I know them. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's
good chance they might have.
I'm in San Francisco. I'm just here on business, but I've definitely bought from them before, so that's a good idea.
Have you visited their store?
No. I have to look up, see how close I am to it.
You're close.
All right. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, it's a really fun store.
I'm looking.
Does Sounds like Jay wants you to visit that store.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Now you have two from Chicago also. Let's take a look at
Yeah.
those. The first one I called Chicago 1.
All right. So this is along the Lake Michigan waterfront. And, I just was trying to get pictures of those skyscrapers, but they have some that are just so tall, it's hard to get them all in the same shot. So I figured to make it a picture of something, I'll take a picture of the lamp post and then, have all these great things in the background.
Well, that gives you your foreground element, and there's definitely a lot of architecture in this composition.
I'll have to take another picture of the big bean. It's for those of you who don't know, Chicago has got this big chrome-covered giant bean-shaped sculpture, and underneath it, the reflections are absolutely crazy. So I think it'd be fun to take some images underneath.
I've got a whole series at the Bean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's a fun place. I love it.
Mm.
Tricky to get a stereo selfie from it though.
Yeah, yeah. I took one, but it wasn't quite good enough to share.
Charles, I'm curious, is this a recent photo? Is this taken?
Yeah, I think this was maybe on Sunday.
Okay, oh, beautiful day.
Or Saturday or Sunday. I was walking around. I had a free day.
And you got a great sky too. It's nice to have those clouds to give it some texture.
Mm.
All right, and then our final photo from Charles for this evening is what I've called Chicago 2. I'm very curious about this one.
All right, so this one, I think I was walking to, I don't remember the name of it. Oh, well, there's an observatory, and it's on this little island. And so I was walking towards it, and I walked over some train tracks, and they had all these buildings, and then I don't know what it is, but it's train equipment, and I liked how it getting it at an angle so I could have the buildings in the background, and then a little bit of the bush in the front just to kind of create some layers of depth.
What an interesting structure.
Yeah, but the sky's real blown out because that's my camera. It's not that great for highlight or punch.
One habit I got into when I was shooting with my Fuji W3, which I think your camera is, kind of sort of the equivalent of, given the era and given that it's got a nice, had a nice auto stereo screen, and just looking at where the position of the lenses and the flash are. I don't know if your camera has any manual settings.
Yeah, it's got a few.
Yeah, the Fuji W3 tends to take brighter pictures also, and in order to avoid blowing out the sky, I'd always set the exposure down, maybe a full stop, and then in Photoshop or really any photo editing program, bring the exposure or the brightness up. That way it just it's able to capture more of the information in those bright areas.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that a try.
It's something you can try. I love cameras that have a lot of life in them. It gives you an opportunity to really learn their strengths and their weaknesses, and that's just something I really admire. you've done a really nice job of keeping everything, for the most part, kind of behind the window in these photos. In this one, that I guess it's like a railing or something with that plant is a little bit in front of a window, but it's not hard to look at or anything. Very nice. Well, thank you so much, Charles, for contributing these, and I hope that we can see 4 more from you at our next regular meeting on October 1st, which is right around the corner.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, I also hope I understand that you're a couple hours ahead of us, and if you're nodding off, that's totally understandable. But if you want to stick around, I'm going to go back to photo number 6. We've got a group from Bob Bloomberg. We've got a group from Steve, and that'll take us through the rest of the evening. So I'm going to go back and just bear with me as we go in reverse. Don't get car sick or anything. Now, Bob, we're going to start with you. I hope I selected the right ones. I had more than 4 to choose from, and I'm going to start with Escher Hotel Architecture.
Yeah, not the right one, but it's okay.
All right. Well, I'm very curious to know how you made this.
Well, that's basically out of the camera. I turned it, that stairway. I'm still trying to figure out the floor is basically one of the walls. So this is a cha-cha done with the iPhone. And the only manipulation I did, I added a little green tint to that one window-like thing in the front. And of course, I had the that walkway coming through the window, masked it off. But there's some white that I got rid of on the left. And I also extended the frame on the right in the version that I wanted to show, where it's not like hitting the edge of that frame. It comes clean right through the window. But the only thing that would get Oleg upset is my putting the figure in there. I added.
The figure is the only thing you added?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, well, if you can, I'm trying to figure out which way to turn it, because I did it with
Looks like it looks like we're just looking down a stairwell.
Yeah, it is.
So,
or I might be looking up, actually, but I'm trying to figure out which way I did it. But it is, yeah, basically looking down a stairwell.
looks like, yeah, because you can see the top of the stairs.
Yeah, I think that flooring was actually the ceiling.
Oh, okay. Oh, it looks nicer than usual.
Well, I thought it had an Escher-like quality when I turned it upside down, and I wanted some scale there, so I cheated and put a figure.
Oh, it's very creative.
Thanks. So you have to imagine it not hitting the edge, which I don't like doing over there. And that little sliver of white gone. Yeah, the figure, the green tint on what I'm calling a window there, and the extension of that right side were the only things that I did to the shot, other than the little guy.
Yeah, very lovely.
Thanks.
And having that bright area in the background really draws my eye through this composition. I really enjoy exploring that background area.
Oh, yeah, this is fantastic. This gives me a lot of ideas I hadn't thought of my own pictures, but I think we are looking down because isn't this, aren't we looking at the railings on these staircases?
Good point. I'm trying to figure it out myself. It's been a while. This was taken last year in England. Well, we definitely have those green stairs, and that's like going down. So yeah, it could be. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find the original and play with the angles. And maybe I'll try to post the original untouched shot in the future.
And I mean, it's looking down or up a stairwell. It wouldn't even matter if you rotated because this could be how it looks normally.
Yeah, I just like the composition this way gave it just more of a surreal, futuristic feel to it. And I like the way it framed the figure with those concentric curves coming out.
And nicely done. The figure, you placed the figure there. Really, I would not have guessed he's not actually there.
Yeah. Thanks.
It reminds me of the Bradbury building.
Yeah, I love that building.
Yeah, Bob and I took pictures at the Bradbury building.
Yeah, I was just looking at a shot of you standing outside.
All right, thanks, Bob. We've got another one by you. Mission Inn Stairwell Architecture.
Yeah, this was taken, I don't remember what camera I had, but this is a back stairwell at the Mission Inn in Riverside. Fantastic hotel.
Oh, fantastic photo, too.
Thanks. Wish I had a little more room on the left. I don't like the lights being so close there, but I think this was the best that I had to work with, although I could ask the AI to add a little bit on the left there for me.
Was this the top level, or could you have gone up higher?
No, this was at the top, and I had to kind of lean over and rest my camera on the railing, and I was just guessing at the separation. It was difficult to get real depth going down without totally distorting the top row there, but it's still very pleasing to me, and I just love the geometry of it and the color.
Yeah, great color too. Bob, you mentioned AI. I know you didn't use any generative fill or anything in this photo, but
no.
Have you been using it? Have you been using it successfully?
Yeah, I'm. I've talked about my love-hate relationship with the AI programs and how they kind of cannibalize and Frankenstein everyone's art that's out there on the web. But just for taking your own photographs and adding, like here, if I wanted to have more on the left. I'm going to try it, but it's been remarkable. I mean, it kind of takes the whole snapshot, analyzes the whole picture and says, okay, well, it should have this over here, or the stairs need to be extended over there. So it does amazing work.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, you just select a larger canvas size and then select that area and say generative fill.
It's even conceivable that it would look through a database and find this actual building. Because
yeah, very
Google, I'm still astonished at what the search engines, not just Google, but there are other ones, can look through what has to be trillions of pictures.
Yeah.
At least billions of pictures, and find the one you're looking at.
Yeah. Well, you've heard about. They did this amazing, I mean, just giga upon gigabytes of this panorama of like Notre Dame that is just unbelievably huge. And what they did was scan the web And okay, they needed a piece up there of the tower, and they found someone who had photographed it from the right angle, and they put it. It was like this massive jigsaw puzzle that ended up. You could have done 100% print and have it fill a football field. It was just a huge project. I don't remember the name of it, but
finding the correct angle is not even essential, because if you get 2, 3, or 4 pictures from different angles,
yeah,
you can send that to the computer and it'll know how to build a 3D model out of that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Very appropriate for the subject, too.
I thought so.
Before we move on to the next, I wanted to say welcome, Melinda.
Hi. Thanks, Ox.
Hey. Bob, the next one that I have from you is Tarot Garden Tower Architecture.
Mm-hmm.
This is, well, tell me what I'm looking at here.
You're looking at one of the sculptures in Nikki Sinclair's. It's in Italy, and she is an artist who has created an amazing place. I have a whole series of photos based on the Tarot. And this building, it's kind of hard to see. Those are, normal sized trees. So this is one of the Tarot cards, the tower. And it's a physical building that's kind of broken on the top. It's the way the tarot card looks. And I had to do a lot of cloning because I think this was a cha-cha. And I did cheat and add a new sky to it. The sky I had was just very plain. But I thought it needed a little drama. But that is the building.
What is the scale of this building? How tall?
Yeah,
is
that's the only thing. I didn't put anything in for scale, but well, let's see. A person would come up if you stood right in the middle of that shot. Their head would be where that blue part of the tower starts. So it's quite large. I mean, I'd say it's, I don't know, 30 feet.
Wow.
I'll try to find some other shots of it and see if it has any scale or representation. But I know it looks like a train model, but it is that is real. Those are full-size trees.
Yeah, that's what's throwing me.
It's a lovely and appropriate sky too, though the clouds in the upper right are in front of the building.
I worked on those, and I just said screw it and send it in on Sunday because it does need some work.
It's minor. I like the sky.
Yeah, me too. I like the color and the drama of it. But I'll get it fixed. Yeah, there's some amazing sculptures in that place. All mosaics and just so whimsical. And I'll bring some more in next week.
Right.
Or next month.
Well, thanks, Bob. And
sure.
I know you sent 2 of Transamerica Pyramid Architecture. I hope I got the one you wanted to show.
Okay.
Well, I think I do see some errors on the right chip, but I think we'll get the general idea of what you're after here.
Yeah, no, it's not the one, but it's, it's basically the composition close to it.
Now, what was your vantage point to get this amazing composition?
I was hanging out of a helicopter.
Incredible.
I was hired by a stereo company to do some not lenticular, but the what are they called? Was a series of 3D that was based on stereo pairs, but I'll have to.
Was it like a Viewmaster or something?
No, if somebody keeps naming names of stereo techniques, I'll tell you what it is, or stereo products that were out there. they could be backlit.
The
were doing-
film strip?
No. This is they're like prints, but they're slides.
Oh, is it a stereo jet?
Yes, thank you. Stereo jet.
Yes.
So they wanted. I shot some of the Golden Gate Bridge. I think I presented one of those too, but I had never been up in a helicopter shooting before, so did some research, and this was in a time when they allowed pilots to get in pretty close to the city. I had some wonderful views.
Great opportunity. Great
Yeah,
result.
yeah.
I
Great.
want to see those bridge photos.
I'm sorry.
I want to see those bridge photos now.
Oh yeah, I'll bring some.
That's a great through the window effect too. Stereo jets, those were. I don't think they can be made anymore. Correct me
Yeah,
if
they're
I'm
not
wrong.
doing it anymore.
I think those were like, yeah, you said they were backlit. They were sort of like transparencies with the polarization integrated
Yeah,
in the
it's
print.
been so long that they sold. They made cards for my images and sold them in the Golden Gate Bridge gift shop for a while.
Oh, those must be collectible now. I remember Jim Gasparini had a big collection of stereo jets that he had made. And I think you do have to, as I recall, they were mounted on his wall, and I think they were backlit. And I think you did wear polarized glasses to see the 3D effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. It was a very, very interesting technology.
Yeah, maybe I can do a show and tell. I'll go find some of mine that I have.
Well, thanks, Bob. And yeah, talk about hitting the nail on the head for the subject for these. Steve, you're still with us? You're still awake? Let's
You know me so well.
let's enjoy a set by you. We're going to start with Budapest Bridge.
Okay, so remember from last week, we took a little trip along the Danube, and so I think all four of these are cha-chas, and a lot of them are from a boat, but this one's from a bus. So yeah, it took a lot of cha-chas from a moving bus. There's almost always something blocking the way. In fact, this one had several things, poles and things, and I painted them out. So
Good paint job.
Yeah.
thanks. Affinity.
And beyond.
Exactly. So yeah, just I like the position of the bridge relative to the. I guess it's like a Capitol building there. I think it might be the Parliament building.
And you took this with your smartphone cha-chas?
That's with my Samsung smartphone.
Just incredible the amount of detail.
Yeah, I mean those phones are so high quality. The iPhone and the Samsung, the Galaxy phones are all really high quality, very, very advanced optics and in such a slim package too.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And
I don't think I did anything to the water. There's one coming up where it's probably a big mess, but I tried to do the water and do a realistic reflection, but we'll see how that came out.
Water looks fine. You probably got it fast enough.
Yeah, I think it's subtle enough. There's not a lot of movement in the water, and it's a relatively small part of the picture. I think we're okay.
There's one little anomaly. I'm not even sure if it bothers me at all, but there's part of a building you can see on the left chip, just to the left of that first arch column, whatever it is. You're seeing a sliver of it that you're not seeing on the other one.
Oh, I see.
Is it like a naturally occurring anomaly?
Yeah, it was part of the building that, just the position of your bus kind of hit it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. And yeah, you could probably paint it out and it would be less distracting. Although, these things that happen in reality, I don't know if I really need. I mean, the poles, they were very distracting because they were in the foreground.
Right. No, I don't think it's, necessary to do.
That's pretty minor, but I mean, if there's a dozen or so of these kinds of things, you sort of take them all out, and you do notice the difference. The subject stands out more cleanly, I think. But if it's just one little thing like that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see a justification for taking that out.
There's a little brightness anomaly going on with that just above the water in the very middle. There's kind of a white dot next to that white area.
I think that's the reflection. There's a white building behind it.
Let's see, I'm previewing it. Yeah, it's just something right above the wall or whatever that is. It's just a brighter white dot.
Above the wall?
Well, there's that white shape that's kind of like a vase shape. And where the wall hits, that just the horizontal wall there's a bright white dot, right? That building that has a red roof.
Uh-huh.
If you go down just before it hits the wall.
Yeah, I'm not actually seeing that.
Yeah, it's just brighter. It's the same on each one, but it's very bright on the left on at least what I'm looking at. And it's kind of in shadow a little bit on the right. If you blow it up, I mean, again, in minor.
Let me zoom in a bit here. I think I've got the area.
It's right down below. Yeah. No, I'll tell you if you do a.
Let's see. Would it be to the left or to the right?
Wherever your cursor is, go down to the wall. Okay, now go to my right. So maybe your left or right. No, the other way.
Other right.
Okay, now go down toward the wall. Oops, no, it skipped. No, now I've lost it. Oh yeah, okay. So you see that spot between where the trees open up and you can see the white building in the background? Below the bridge.
Below the bridge.
Between the bridge and the wall at the very bottom, there's all the trees, but there's a break in the trees and there's a white reflection off a building in the back. No, now I'm not seeing it. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm sure it exists.
As Gilda Radner would say, never mind. I mean, it's there from now. I see it very prominently when it's reduced. But
I find when you go in too close, when you start seeing pixels, then you kind of lose the subject.
Yeah,
lose the big picture.
Yeah, no, forget it. It's fine.
I think it is a valid point, though, and that's what we're here for, to rip these photos apart. No offense, Steve. It's a beautiful photo.
Go for it.
Let's enjoy another one. This one is Danube Banks near Budapest. Or is this Danube Church? Did I get this right?
I can't remember now. I have to look at my collection. Now this one's definitely from the boat. It looks a little washed out here. I wonder if maybe I should have darkened this.
The colors look good to me, but it is very much in front of the window.
Oh.
There's a spire that's in the right eye, but not in the left, between the two foreground spires. So it's sort of like the bit of building in the previous image.
So is the same thing like naturally occurring?
Same thing, yeah. It's real, it's natural, it's just in one eye and not the other.
Yeah.
Pretty minor.
And there's a bit of it in the right eye. It's not totally vanished.
In the left eye, you mean? I don't see it in the
I
left
see
eye.
most of it in the left eye, and I do see a sliver of it in my right eye. I'll zoom in for what it's worth.
Yeah, you got a sliver.
So it's natural.
I kind of like it zoomed in. Maybe I should crop it.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you'd have to get rid of that other anomaly then, where you see the spire on the right and don't see anything on the left.
Yeah, I could do that.
Or you can just cut and paste it and put it
Oh,
in.
are you looking at the white spire? I'm looking at the dark one.
The dark one.
Well, when you were zoomed in, there
Oh, I
was
see.
another one that appeared.
There
Yeah,
is
zoom in.
another.
It's
Zoom in again.
Yes, I was.
Okay, now between the two, there, you see
there
that
it is.
building with a spire there?
yeah. So
I'll
that's
do my highlighting here. In
Yeah,
the
that's
right
the one
eye.
I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the one I was, because you don't see it at all in the left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was,
it's
I
not
was
in the
talking
left eye.
about
So
that.
it kind of flickers for me a little.
Yeah, I'm always torn with those because that you would see those in like the Viewmaster pictures, and it is naturally occurring. And back then there was really not any way to get rid of it. But yeah, if there's no corresponding one in the alternate eye, then sometimes it's more comfortable to just take it out.
But I agree. I think it might be interesting to do a crop where you're focusing more on those spires and forego the side buildings, even though it frames it nicely.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's
They're so wonderful, and just the positioning of them all make a nice.
well, yeah. My first impression of the overall image was that I wanted to see the ground level. That's all cropped off the bottom, which I'm sure is just because there's just too much confusion down there. But in the image that remains, the towers are the real show. So you could solve both problems.
Yeah, I'd cut off more on the right. Even
Yeah, make more of a square image out of it.
Yeah.
Zoom in a bit on the good stuff. And,
Yeah, I think that is a good suggestion, and I think that
I'd leave the whole building on the right there, but just to the right of it, crop it.
yeah. And then if I was going to revisit it, I would go ahead and paint out that part of the building that is only in one eye. You never notice it.
Yeah, and that building. Yeah, when you crop in a bit, that building in the background gets really interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the challenge with this stuff is there's so many really beautiful buildings, and they're hundreds of years old, sometimes thousands of years old. and you just want to see them all.
Right, but do you want to show them all in a stereogram? I think it's. I
Well,
think
yeah, you have
Just
to
put them all in the same picture.
I mean, it's a real natural reluctance to give up any part of a good image, right? When you see that there's all this good stuff in there, but more isn't always better. But it can be a great starting point. You can sort of shop around within your image and try to find, the thing
I
that'll
think
give the
it's
biggest
also
impact.
useful in this context, of course, to get feedback from you guys, and then also to sit back and look at it, because at the time, I was actually plowing through several thousand pictures, and in a case like this, I had so many, I would just shoot a big progression of pictures as the boat moved by these. And so, within just this scene right here, I might look at 30 different pictures of these same buildings. So yeah, this was exhausting. And I think by the time I got two that worked, I said, "Oh, great, I'm done." Without thinking, "Oh, wait, I should crop this."
It is
Yeah,
exhausting.
I guess my
Go ahead,
my
Randy.
approach is to try to ask myself, what element do I really like? What's my favorite element in the
Yeah.
image, and then take a look at what it's like if I kind of crop that one to become the main part of the image. And often it's a whole different image, and usually gets a lot better.
Yeah.
But it's hard to think to do that.
So, Steve, based on
yeah, I mean,
everyone's feedback, I've done some cropping and some horizontal adjustment to your photo here, for what it's worth.
Good.
For your consideration.
yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think Melinda's right. Less is more.
Yeah, unless you're trying for some big record shot, or the image is about, some giant crowd size or something like that. But
Or
if
like
it's
a panorama the size of a football field.
yeah, big cityscapes and stuff, I mean, it's a great place to start because there's so much you can do with it. But it's yeah, it takes time. Like you said, you got all these images to work through, and a lot of the really nice compositions only sort of present themselves after really looking at it and fooling around for a while, or talking about it in the group.
Definitely.
With all these extra eyes on it, people have all kinds of good ideas.
We're so close to our own photos, it's hard to get a real perspective about other ways of seeing it without
that's it.
sharing it. All right, Steve, there's many perspectives for you. Let us enjoy the next one, which is called Danube Church. And oh yeah, that's a church. And this will be popping up in just a moment.
So luckily it wasn't too windy.
Yeah, that's a nice
Yeah,
hyper.
I'm seeing some retinal rivalry now in the trees, but they also might be naturally occurring. I don't know. But yeah, I probably want to go in and fix that. Don't know how I missed that before.
Well, like I said, it's natural, so it's not.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
Did you do a sequential or burst mode on your phone for this one? Do you have any others?
I don't think I used that. I used video in some cases. Most cases, I just click. I just click a bunch of pictures.
Because I found that shutter mode, just doing a burst is really handy for stuff like this where you're traveling past something and you want to select or.
Yeah, I've used that on my previous phone. I'm not even sure I've done that. I'm not sure how to even turn that on, but I know I've used it in the past on a different phone.
It's
But
nice. It's a nice feature of the iPhone they have. You just, instead of pressing the button, if you press it and kind of slide it to the left, it starts the burst mode, and as long as you're holding it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a really
So I
good
don't know
tip.
if the other phones have that same technology.
I think so. Might not be as easy to access. But the video works pretty well too. And a couple of places where I adjusted the shutter, so I got really sharp pictures, even though we were moving fast. The pictures from the Audubon, and I was pretty amazed because it was really a bright, sunny day, so I was able to make a really quick shutter. And so I got pretty sharp pictures. None of them were as interesting as the ones I got from the boat, like these. But it's interesting that it does work. And it's high enough resolution that I can turn them into pictures.
That's a good tip about the burst mode. I took a ton of cha-chas for tonight. And when I brought them home, they were all too hyper. I didn't even bother entering any. Now I realize if I was, using a burst mode, I'd have a lot more to choose from. So I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Steve. This is a lovely photo. How was the river cruise?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was a little hot. And in Hungary, we couldn't get out of the bus. There was some event going on, but it was really interesting to hear in the debate just before this meeting, Trump talking about Hungary and how Orban, how the president, or I think is he still a president, anyway, the leader of Hungary. Praising him because that was the only communist country that we visited. It was the most oppressive of the countries. We were in Austria and Germany, and Slovakia, and the one that was the hardest to get around, the one of the most restrictive, was Hungary, and so that's the one that Donald Trump chose to praise. And they had some really interesting stories about Orban, that he was, being driven somewhere and it was taking a long time. And he said, "Why is it so slow?" And he said, "Well, there are these tourists in buses." And he said, "Well, get rid of the buses." So they banned buses from a bunch of the roads because of his whim. And it was just driving the people that run these cruises and these tourist things. It was driving them crazy.
A true autocrat.
Yeah, exactly.
He loves his dictators.
Yes.
He does. And he wants to be one himself.
I couldn't. My doctor said my blood pressure couldn't handle watching the debates.
I couldn't watch it before.
Not really, but
tonight.
I have surrogates watching it and giving me highlights.
Well, Trump started off kind of strong. Well, he's not a strong speaker, but he wasn't as crazy as usual. But Kamala really knew how to push his buttons.
Oh, she did? She got him?
Yeah, she started talking about his rallies. And then it triggered him, and he started ranting.
Oh, good.
So bravo for her.
Yeah.
I was a little frustrated that most of his lies just sort of
they're
didn't get
supposed
addressed.
to be.
It was
Yes.
so much better than the Biden debate, though. She called him out on his lies, and both moderators called him on his lies. But they maybe got 5% because he lies so much that it's just exhausting. You can't
Yes.
you can't do them all. You have to get your biggest hits.
I just thought he suffers from diarrhea. I'll have to patent that one.
You will. I've never heard that before.
I hadn't either. I just made it up.
Yeah.
But he's certain.
Someone described him as word salad with a dash of Russian dressing.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Pretty good.
Oh, I hope she turned a few heads. I mean, the only thing she had to do was to speak to that small, undecided group and present herself. So I hope she did that. I mean, everybody knows him by now, I would think, even if they're not willing to admit it.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on the fact that they're neck and neck and the fact that we don't use the number of votes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Don't get me started. Let's get this done. Let's get this finished.
Yeah.
Bob, I'm sensing that a creative composition might be forming in your mind, a Lyria.
Yeah, I might have
photo.
to.
Well, if you're
I don't think it could be
inspired, share
shown
with
in
us.
the company.
Well, Steve, thank you for sharing these. That
I think
is our group tonight.
Isn't there one more?
Oh yeah, we do have one more. I'm sorry. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the final stereo photo of your group, and it is Hungarian Parliament.
So, this is, I probably a failed experiment, but what I did is I skewed the highlights on the water, but I kept the reflection part unskewed, so it would sort of match the perspective of the building, because if you skew the water, because it's a child,
yeah.
if you skew the water, the reflection gets skewed too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I knew it wasn't going to work, but I wanted to try it and see if I would get close and get some feedback.
Yeah, it's close. I would try maybe taking those highlights down a bit, or experimenting with trying to isolate them, and then just skew some highlights if you can isolate or separate them. The only thing that obviously about, but to clone out that whatever it is on the left and in the sky, just to get rid of that distraction, because everything else, I like the hyperness of the building. It's wonderful.
Okay, yeah, it's an amazing building. Of course, we couldn't stop. We just had to get it while we were. I think this is from the bus, but I do have a bunch from the boat as well.
Yeah, content aware would probably get rid of both the whatever that is, where the river meets the shore.
Yeah, Affinity does have that feature.
Yeah, that and that whatever that pole or structure is touching the building that's halfway up the sky on the left.
In the left eye, there's an area in the water where it looks like the highlights were missed. You've got kind of a solid color there.
There's a good
the
chance.
water.
Yeah, probably maybe even tried one of your techniques.
Well, I think the water is very effective. I think it's a successful experiment.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I think it's a good idea. I think you might have skewed it a little too much.
Could be.
But I definitely endorse the idea. I think it's a great idea.
Thanks.
Yeah, don't give it up.
All right. There's probably some blending technique that works better than just from straight layering and removing, the dark part of the water. But those things require a lot of trial and error. Oh, before I forget, on the river cruise, you can go up on the top deck, and then the bridges. The ship wasn't. I think it was three levels, maybe. But it came very close to the bridge, and the wheelhouse actually is on a gantry. It actually, like an elevator, it actually lowers. And I was up there once, twice actually, and saw the wheelhouse drop down into like a hole so it could go under the bridge. And I have some video I shot of getting really close to the bridge. It was probably, 10 feet above my head.
Did you take any photos?
I did. I don't think I took 3D because I really wanted to take a video of going under the bridge and a video of the wheelhouse dropping down. I guess I could have used the video feature in the W3, but maybe when I found out we were going under a bridge, I ran up and I had the phone in my pocket.
Sure.
But I was not aware of that. I just wanted to share that because it's pretty cool.
Well, thank you, Steve. I think all these photos were very cool.
Well, thank you.
Let's take a poll. I'm going to skip ahead. Let's see. I think our late arrivals missed the 4 photos by Charles Brandt, but we will see them again. I will go through the slideshow again, one at a time for the poll, just spending a few moments on each photo. For those who can, on the screen right now, and this is coming up on the YouTube streams, we have the URL, the link for the poll, and there's also a QR code, which is handy if you're using a phone or a tablet. What I'll do is I'll go through the slideshow again, spend 3 or 4 seconds on each one. I will announce the titles. We'll have a chance to see these links and this QR code at the end of the slideshow as well. You can make your selections during the slideshow or after the slideshow, or maybe you've already made your selections. In any case, I'll go through these, starting with Gothic House by Jay. Wait, let me try that again. Gothic House by Jay. Exterior of the Espresso Silo Coffee Shop by Oleg. Level 5 of a downtown Santa Monica parking garage by Oleg. Thrift shop storefront on Solano Avenue by Oleg. View through a courtyard at a shopping center by Oleg. Escher Hotel Architecture by Bob. Mission Inn Stairwell Architecture by Bob. Tarot Garden Tower Architecture by Bob. Transamerica Pyramid Architecture by Bob. Budapest Bridge by Steve. Danube Banks near Budapest by Steve. Danube Church by Steve. Hungarian Parliament by Steve. San Francisco Chinatown 1 by Charles. And Charles had to drop off at 8:45. It was getting late in Chicago. We'll see him next month, I hope. San Francisco Chinatown 2 by Charles. Chicago 1 by Charles. Chicago 2 by Charles. That was our slideshow for this evening. So let's spend 60 or 90 seconds or so and choose our top 3 from this evening, and then I'll show the results. All right, I'll give it another 20 seconds or so. Would anyone like more time? Looks like we have some good results here. I'm going to share my screen with the results screen. And well done, Oleg. We have 4 votes for level 5 of a downtown Santa Monica parking garage. Bob, clear second with Escher Hotel Architecture. And then we have a lot of runner-ups with 1 vote. Of course, there are no winners or losers in this poll, but we do like to know what the most popular photos are. So thank you, everyone, for your participation by submitting photos and by voting in our poll. And that's our main group for the evening. I just have a few announcements to make. And they are that I'd like to remind everyone that Jack Musako's retrospective is Thursday the 12th, 2 nights from tonight. It's at 7 o'clock, same Zoom link, same YouTube streams. I'll be sending out a reminder email and posting a reminder on the popular groups IO discussion boards. I have a huge slideshow that I've curated, and I think that it will be, frankly, it's going to be a lot of fun because Jack had some very creative ideas. So I hope to see you there. Additionally, our next normal meeting of the Golden Gate Stereoscopic Society is Tuesday, October 1st. And we have a special subject that is found stereo. And I think most of us have participated in found stereo specials before, but our definition is creating a stereo image rather, from 2 separate photos or video frames, not originally intended for 3D. Melinda, I think you actually introduced a third way of using AI. You showed us a video that you grabbed some pairs from, maybe it was 2 or 3 months ago. Another totally valid technique. In any case, found stereo will be the special subject for next month. That will, of course, be on the second Tuesday of the month, the first Tuesday, our next meeting, October 1st, is an open, basically anything goes. And that's all I have in my notes. I'll open up the floor to anyone who has anything they'd like to announce or share or talk about. Maybe we're all ready for bed after that debate. I am going to say one thing. Speaking of, we lost Bob. That's okay. I was going to speak of his Escher Hotel architecture photo. I mentioned the Bradbury Building, and if anyone wants to see the Bradbury Building in 3D, I think one of the best ways is this terrible movie, Mickey Splain's I, the Jury. It's a 3D movie from 1953. It's not a bad movie. But the best part of it is probably a brief scene shot in the Bradbury Building, in the elevator, and even better, what's his name? Joe Besser. That's who I'm thinking of. Joe Besser has a role in the Bradbury Building playing the elevator attendant. It's the best part of the movie. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already.
I wanted to actually talk about this image. I came late, but then when I went through the downloaded images, I saw this. It's spectacular, really. I'm sorry that he's logged off already.
Well, if you put it on the screen, we can at least enjoy it together here.
Yeah, it's really stunning. What more can you tell me about it? So you said it's the Bradbury Building. Where is that? How did he take the picture?
It's not actually the Bradbury Building. I had mentioned that because I thought it resembled the interior of the Bradbury Building.
Okay.
But it's actually a stairwell of a building. I think he said it was in London. Up there it was. And
then is that an elevator going through the middle or something?
he explained that he was shooting down, looking down a stairwell. And you can see the surface of the stairs. And these structures are the railing of the stairwell. He said the floor was either a wall or a ceiling, and he added the figure. He added the silhouette of the person there. But as he explained it, most of this stereo photo came right out of his camera. This is what he captured. I think he did rotate it and added that figure. But and he added the green glow. But to hear him describe it, this wasn't really much of a creative. This is mostly what he captured.
Well, I think it's a little disingenuous to say it's straight out of the camera because the focus of the picture is the kid. And he wasn't shot when he shot the rest of it. So it's the essence of a creative. He's added the one, human character in there, the focus of the whole picture. I mean, all the lines are pointing at him.
Yeah, but it's a creative. So it's just, and that's exactly the stuff that Jack would do, right?
It is exactly. Yeah. I'm not in no way denigrating it. I don't think it's appropriate to say this is straight out of the camera. Because when he said that, I go, whoa, how did he do that? Is that like a kid doing his Spider-Man impression? Is it?
Most of the pixels,
I literally
guess,
thought it was like a cardboard cutout that was attached to the wall.
Yeah, I thought my initial thought was that it was a typical alien. But the closer I look, I guess it is just a silhouette of a kid. But it's very striking. And I guess the really lucky thing was how the light gets brighter and brighter the further down the stairwell you look.
I mean, I voted for this picture. I love this picture. But
Yeah,
he's manipulated it quite a bit. Even though
yeah, but it's a
pretty
special. It's
interesting.
hey, you get to do that.
Yeah, it's of course. That's his specialty. Bob's a genius at that stuff.
Right. You're definitely allowed to do it at the Golden Gate Stereoscopic Society, but you're not allowed to do it for the Photographic Society of America. And something we mentioned...
Ever?
Not ever. I think we mentioned this at our last meeting about vignetting, about how adding a vignette during processing is forbidden by the PSA. I've got a list that includes removing, adding to, moving, or changing any part of an image except for cropping and straightening. So no object removal, no adding birds or silhouettes of boys or whatever. Blurring parts of the image during processing, darkening parts of the image during processing, all conversions other than to complete grayscale monochrome, and conversion of parts of an image to monochrome or partial toning, desaturation, or oversaturation of color. So for whatever that's worth, that's how the PSA sees it. That's not how I see it. That's not how we see it, I think. But there's another opinion.
Well, I mean, that's the naturalist approach or the realist approach, and I have nothing against that. I think it's a great category, and it could even be fine for the the default for open categories. But for specials, I mean, there's got to be some kind of special that allows almost anything. Maybe a montage or something. It's I don't know. I've gotten looser and looser about that over time. I think most of us kind of have.
Yeah.
Or at least some of us started off preferring realism and then just slowly relaxing into allowing more free expression.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny any creatives in our open group. And I think the term that probably best describes what we're looking at here is altered reality.
Sure.
And I think you can kind of get away with anything if we call it altered reality. That word altered in the category suggests to me to alter away with the photo. So yeah, we will never reject anything as spectacular and creative as this, no matter how it was made. Great points, Melinda. I'm glad you brought that up. And
Sure.
if you haven't, the YouTube stream of the slideshow will be up for a couple weeks. So if you'd like to, you can go back and catch up with the parts that you missed.
Oh yes, that's true. I could get the explanations.
And I will say hello to our YouTube audience out there. I know you're out there. I am always amazed how many more views our YouTube stream gets than actual Zoom participants in the meeting, and that's okay. I hope you join us sometime. We'd love to talk and meet you.
How many views do you usually get?
On the half-width side-by-side stream for TVs and tablets and that kind of thing, it's usually between 30 and 40. For the Anaglyph stream, it's a lot less. Usually it's between 3 and 5. But Hey, that's 3 to 5 additional viewers who we wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to share our stereo photography with.
Yeah, good point. I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah, it seems to be working. For Jack's retrospective on Thursday, it'll be the same setup. I'll have an Anaglyph stream and a half-width side-by-side stream, as well as the Zoom screen share.
Now, you're still removing these?
These after a while, or do you leave them up now?
I archive them after a couple weeks. I try to do it after, before each meeting. So if you miss something, we might be able to go back and find it, but chances are I don't really catalog them or anything. I just keep them up for a short time for people who might have missed the live meeting.
I guess I would propose that maybe
We leave them up. And one possible compromise is that you could turn them unlisted so that people can't find it via searching, but you could add them to a playlist that you could link from the site or from the club's account.
Well, that would be easy to do. That's a really good idea. Does anyone have any objections to that? That way, they would be available, but they wouldn't be coming up in searches. I wouldn't necessarily not list the most current video, but the archived or the older ones would, be there for people who knew where to go to get them. Yeah, great idea. I can make that work.
Great, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. This was a bit of an unusual night with our schedule change, but I appreciate the participation. We had some fantastic photos tonight. Please join me on Thursday, and please join me on October 1st. Until then, good night, everyone, and I'll see you later. Adios.